Some legends rise slowly, others rise before the world even expects it. They were only 21 when they changed history. 1. Denzel Washington. In his early 20s, he was studying drama with discipline and focus. By 21, he had already committed to mastering his craft. That dedication turned into greatness. In 2026, Denzel Washington is 71 years old and one of the most respected actors in Hollywood. 2. Morgan Freeman. In his early 20s, he was serving in the Air Force while dreaming of the stage. By 21, he had already chosen a path toward storytelling. His voice would later become legendary. In 2026, Morgan Freeman is 89 years old and remains an icon of cinema. 3. Snoop Dogg. At just 21, he appeared on Dr. Dre's The Chronic. His flow was smooth. His presence was effortless. Overnight, he became a defining voice of West Coast hip-hop. In 2026, Snoop Dogg is 55 years old and still shaping culture. 4. Oprah Winfrey. At 19, she became one of the youngest news anchors in Nashville. By her early 20s, she was already breaking barriers. In television, her voice carried empathy. Her presence carried power. In 2026, Oprah Winfrey is 72 years old and one of the most influential women in history. 5. 50 Cent. In his early 20s, he survived near tragedy and turned pain into purpose. By 21, he was already building his raw street sound. His hunger became unstoppable. In 2026, 50 Cent is 51 years old and a powerful name in music and business. 6. Jay-Z. At 21, he was sharpening his pen and perfecting his flow. By his early 20s, his hunger was louder than the industry. From the streets of Brooklyn to global boardrooms, his rise became legendary. In 2026, Jay-Z is 56 years old and one of the most powerful figures in music and business. 7. DMX. At just 21, his voice was already raw and unforgettable. Pain, faith, fire. By his early 20s, he had built a sound that shook hip-hop. He passed away in 2021 at the age of 50, but his growl still echoes. 8. Queen Latifah. At 19, she released her debut album and demanded respect. By 21, she was already redefining what a female rapper could be: confidence, power, presence. In 2026, Queen Latifah is 56 years old and still commanding every stage she touches. 9. LeBron James. At 18, he entered the NBA with the weight of expectations. By 21, he was already a franchise leader and global phenomenon. Chosen, relentless, historic. In 2026, LeBron James is 41 years old and still rewriting basketball history. 10. Alicia Keys. At just 21, she released songs in a minor. Her voice was timeless, her piano unforgettable. In a single year, she became a global sensation. In 2026, Alicia Keys is 45 years old and still inspiring through music and purpose. 11. Usher. At just 16, he released his debut album. By 21, he was already shaping the future of R&B. Smooth voice, sharp moves, unmatched charisma. In 2026, Usher is 47 years old and still electrifying stages worldwide. 12. Tyler Perry. In his early 20s, he was writing plays with almost no money but endless belief. By 21, he had already chosen storytelling as his mission. Faith and persistence built an empire. In 2026, Tyler Perry is 57 years old and one of Hollywood's most powerful creators. 13. Cardi B. At 21, she was building her voice on social media. Raw, honest, unfiltered. By her mid-20s, that voice would dominate global charts. In 2026, Cardi B is 34 years old and still commanding attention. 14. Samuel L. Jackson. In his early 20s, he was studying drama with relentless intensity. By 21, he had already committed to the stage. Years later, that fire would turn into cinematic dominance. In 2026, Samuel L. Jackson is 78 years old and remains one of the highest-grossing actors in history. 15. Megan Thee Stallion at 21, she was already releasing mixtapes with fierce confidence, bold delivery, sharp lyrics, unapologetic energy. Before turning 25, she had become a Grammy-winning force. In 2026, Megan Thee Stallion is 31 years old and still shaping modern hip-hop. 16. Jamie Foxx at just 21, he was sharpening his comedy in small clubs. By his early 20s, his talent was undeniable, funny, fearless, multi-talented. Years later, he would win an Oscar and conquer music and film. In 2026, Jamie Foxx is 58 years old and still electrifying audiences. 17. J. Cole at 21, he was perfecting his craft and chasing a dream in New York. By his early 20s, his storytelling was already turning heads, humble, focused, relentless. In 2026, J. Cole is 41 years old and one of hip-hop's most respected lyricists. 18. Taraji P. Henson in her early 20s. She was studying theater with fierce determination. By 21, she had already chosen the stage as her battlefield, strength, presence, grace. In 2026, Taraji P. Henson is 56 years old and continues to command the screen. 19. Lil Wayne at just 15. He joined the Hot Boys. By 21, he was already building a solo empire. His wordplay was sharp, his hunger unmatched. In 2026, Lil Wayne is 44 years old and still a defining force in Rap. 20. Kerry Washington in her early 20s. She was studying performance and preparing for opportunity. By 21, she had already stepped into film with quiet confidence. Her breakthrough would inspire a generation. In 2026, Kerry Washington is 49 years old and remains a powerful presence in Hollywood. 21. Idris Elba. In his early 20s, he was taking small roles and chasing bigger dreams. By 21, he had already committed to mastering his craft, calm presence, commanding voice, unshakable focus. In 2026, Idris Elba is 54 years old and one of the most respected actors in the world. 22. Missy Elliott at just 21, she was already writing and producing behind the scenes, creative, fearless, ahead of her time. Before turning 25, she had reshaped the sound of hip-hop and R&B in 2026. Missy Elliott is 55 years old and still a pioneer in music. 23. Kevin Hart in his early 20s, he was performing stand-up in small clubs. By 21, his energy was impossible to ignore. Fast, sharp, relatable. In 2026, Kevin Hart is 46 years old and one of the biggest comedy stars in the world. 24. T.I. at just 21, he released his debut album and introduced his voice to the world. Confident, calculated, determined. Before 25, he was already shaping Southern hip-hop. In 2026, T.I. is 46 years old and remains influential in music and media. 25. Gabrielle Union in her early 20s, she was landing television roles with undeniable confidence. By 21, she had already stepped into the spotlight, strong, elegant, unapologetic. In 2026, Gabrielle Union is 53 years old and continues to inspire on and off screen.